Look at the sun. Don't stare at it, just glance. You've been told a lie about that light hitting your retina. A lie you learned in 3rd grade. Teachers told you light travels fast. It takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds for a photon to leave the sun and hit your eye. It sounds true. We can measure it. If the sun vanished right now, you wouldn't know for 8 minutes. But that's your perspective. That's your clock ticking. Ask the photon. Ask that beam of light how long its journey took. If you could shrink down, sit on that photon, and look at its watch, do you know what you'd see? 0. Not 1 second, not a microsecond, absolute 0. From the photon's perspective, it didn't travel 93 million miles. It didn't travel at all. It was born in the sun and died in your eye in the exact same instant. Space collapsed. Time stopped. To a beam of light, the universe isn't huge. It's a single point. Wait, that sounds broken. If light experiences no time, how does it move? And if we are made of things that interact with light, what does that say about our time? The answer is going to collapse your clock. Let me show you. We need to fix your vocabulary right now. You know the number, 299,792,458 meters per second. We call it the speed of light. And that name? It's a disaster. It's like calling the speed of sound the speed of beeps. Sound makes beeps, sure, but sound is a vibration of air. Light travels at c, sure, but c is not about light. Here is the part nobody tells you. If you stripped away every photon in the universe, if you turned off the sun and every star, that speed limit would still exist. Gravitational waves travel at that speed. Gluons holding your atoms together travel at that speed. It's not a speed limit for light. It is the speed of causality. It is the maximum speed at which one thing in the universe can touch another thing. Think about it like this. Imagine a map. North represents space. East represents time. There is a conversion rate between them. Just like there are 1,000 meters in a kilometer, there are 300,000 kilometers in 1 second. That's what c is. It's the exchange rate of reality. So when we say nothing can go faster than light, we aren't saying the police will pull you over. We are saying there is no north further than north. There is no faster. The geometry of the universe stops there. Now, why does this matter? Because you think you are sitting still right now. You're sitting in a chair, holding your phone, watching this video. Stationary. Wrong. You are hurtling through this map at the maximum speed possible. You are moving at the speed of light right now. But you aren't moving through space. You think you're moving through space, but you're actually moving through time. All your speed is being used up in the time direction. You are traveling 24 hours per day into the future. That is your speed. But what happens if you decide to turn? What happens if you take some of that speed through time and point it towards space? Do this right now. Close your eyes. Visualize a mirror on the floor and a mirror on the ceiling. Now imagine a single particle of light, a photon, bouncing between them. Up, down, up, down. Tick, tock, tick, tock. That is a clock. The simplest clock in the universe. 1 tick equals 1 bounce. Now take that clock and put it on a super-fast train. You are standing on the platform. The train zooms past you at 90% the speed of light. Look inside the window. Watch the photon. To the guy sitting inside the train, nothing changed. Up, down, up, down. His watch is normal. His heartbeat is normal. But to you on the platform, you see something impossible. Because the train is moving forward, the photon can't just go straight up. It has to move forward with the train while it goes up. It travels on a slant, a diagonal, zig, zag, zig, zag. Stop. Think about high school geometry. The diagonal line of a triangle is always longer than the straight side. Always. That means, from your perspective, that photon has to travel a longer distance to complete one tick. Here is the part where your intuition screams, impossible, but the math demands it. In a normal world, if you have to travel a longer distance, you just speed up, right? If you're late for work, you drive faster. But light can't. Light is locked. The universe forbids it from speeding up. It must travel that longer diagonal distance at the exact same speed as the short vertical distance. We have a crisis. Speed equals distance divided by time. Speed equals time distance. If the speed is stuck and the distance got bigger, the only variable left to change is time. Time itself must get bigger. The seconds on the train must stretch out to let the light finish its journey. To you on the platform, the clock on the train is ticking in slow motion. The passenger isn't just moving through space, he is rotating out of time. His heart beats slower. His cells divide slower. His coffee cools down slower. If he waves at you, his hand moves through molasses. Everyone forgets the second half of Einstein's equation. We focused on the clock. But if time is getting stretched, what is happening to space? Because you can't break one without breaking the other. Look at your thumb. Hold it up in front of your face. Now imagine your thumb is a ruler, 1 inch long. Space is rigid, right? If you put a ruler on a table, it's 1 inch. If you throw it across the room, it's still 1 inch. That is the intuition of your monkey brain, and it is dead wrong. Space is not a stage. It is not a rigid box. Space is jelly. It squishes. It stretches. And just like time slows down to compensate for speed, space shrinks to compensate for time. This is called length contraction. Let's go back to that train. You are on the platform again. The train is 100 meters long, but as it speeds up, something bizarre happens to the shape of the train. At 10% the speed of light, it looks normal. At 50%, it starts to look a little stubby. At 90%, the train is now only 44 meters long. At 99%, it's 14 meters long. Wait, this isn't an optical illusion. If you took a photo, the train would be short. If you tried to fit it in a garage, it would fit. The atoms themselves get closer together in the direction of motion. The electrical fields get squashed. The space between the protons and electrons shrinks. Imagine squeezing the entire distance to Alpha Centauri into the width of a piece of paper. To the person on the train is still 100 meters. But the world outside, the platform, the trees, the mountains, they are the ones getting squashed. The distance between New York and London shrinks to a few miles. Why? Because the universe has a budget, a speed budget. You can spend your speed moving through time, or you can spend it moving through space. The faster you go through space, the slower you go through time, and the less space you have to cover. Space literally gets out of your way. So if you go fast enough, if you push the pedal to the floor, does space disappear entirely? Does time stop completely? Let's find out. Do this. Hold your phone in your hand. Now imagine pushing it. Accelerate it to 10% the speed of light. The phone still feels heavy. Push harder. 50%. Push harder. 90%. Here is the dirty secret physicists don't like to admit at parties. The harder you push, the heavier that phone gets. Mass increases, not because you're adding atoms, but because energy is mass. E equals mc squared. Remember that equation? Energy, E, equals mass, m, times the speed of light squared, c squared. The more energy you pump into that phone to make it go fast, the more mass it gains. The more mass it gains, the harder it is to push. It's a vicious cycle. At 99% light speed, your phone weighs 7 times its normal weight. At 99.9%, it weighs 22 times. At 99.999%, it weighs 224 times. At 99.999999999%, your phone weighs as much as a freight train. Now try pushing yourself. You are in a spaceship. You hit the gas. 99% of light speed. Time for you is 7 times slower than on Earth. For every hour you spend on the ship, 7 hours pass back home. The universe outside looks weird. Stars in front of you turn blue. Stars behind you turn red. The distance to the nearest star shrinks from 4 light years to just over half a light year. Push harder. 99.999%. Time is now 224 times slower. 1 day for you is almost a year on Earth. The entire galaxy is squashed into a pancake in front of your window. The distance to the center of the Milky Way, normally 26,000 light years, shrinks to just over 100 light years. You could fly there in a human lifetime. But you still have mass. You still experience time. You can still look at your watch. Tick, tock. Even at 99.99999999999% speed, time still passes for you. It might be a crawl compared to Earth, but it's not zero. You are still trapped in the flow of time. So what happens if you hit 100%? What happens if you become light? The math breaks, the universe cheats, and time stops completely. Now we are at the edge. This is the moment the universe cheats. We pushed you to 99.99% the speed of light. Time slowed down, space squished, but you still experienced something. You still had a watch. You still aged, just slower. You still had a before and an after. But light is not like you. Light has no mass. It has no inertia. It doesn't start slow and speed up. It is born at sea, instantaneously. From the moment a photon is created in the heart of a star, it is already moving at the maximum speed limit of reality. It is already pushing against the ceiling. To understand this, you have to break your brain's habit of thinking now exists. Imagine you are that photon. You just popped into existence on the surface of the sun. You are looking at Earth, 93 million miles away. To a human on Earth, that journey takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Tick, tock, tick, tock, 500 seconds. But to you, to the photon itself, remember what happens to time as you approach light speed. It slows down. The closer you get to C, the closer time gets to zero. At 100% of C, time stops. The equation divides by zero, undefined, infinity, whatever you want to call it. There is no time. There is no ticking clock. There is no heartbeat. There is no duration. But wait, if time stops, shouldn't everything be frozen? No, because remember the other half of the equation? Length contraction. As you speed up, space shrinks in the direction you are moving. At 99% light speed, space shrank a lot. At 100% light speed, space shrinks to zero. The distance between the Sun and the Earth becomes zero. The distance between the Sun and Alpha Centauri becomes zero. The distance between the Sun and the edge of the universe becomes zero. To a photon, the universe has no depth. It has no width. It is a 2D plane. Everything in the universe that it will ever touch is touching it right now. It is everywhere it is going to be, all at once. From its perspective, the moment it leaves the sun is the exact same moment it hits your retina. The emission and the absorption are one single event. Let that sink in. We see light traveling. We see it bouncing around. We measure its speed. But the light itself, it experiences an instantaneous teleportation. It lives its entire existence in a single, timeless instant. Birth, journey, death, all happened in one tick of the clock, or rather, 0 ticks. So when you look at the stars at night, you are looking at light that has traveled for millions of years. But to that light, it didn't travel at all. It was born in a distant galaxy and died in your eye, without experiencing a single moment of existence in between. It skipped over all the time and space in the universe. It cheated. This is why physicists say light doesn't experience time. It's not just a poetic phrase. It is a literal description of reality from the perspective of a massless particle. A photon has no past. It has no future. It only has is. And this has a terrifying implication for the size of the universe. If you could ride a beam of light, you wouldn't just see the universe differently. You wouldn't see a universe at all. You would see a singularity. You might say, but wait, if light experiences zero time, how does it move? How can it travel 93 million miles if it takes 0 seconds? That's a logical contradiction, right? Speed equals time distance. If time is 0, speed is infinity. But we know light has a finite speed, 299,792,458 meters per second. We measured it. We use it for GPS. So which is it? Does light take 8 minutes or 0 minutes? That sounds impossible until you see the trick. The answer is both and neither. It depends entirely on whose clock you are using. Relativity tells us there is no quote-unquote universal clock. There is no God with a stopwatch counting down the seconds for everyone. Time is personal. Time belongs to the observer. Your time is not my time, and a photon's time is certainly not your time. To you, sitting on Earth, the light takes 8 minutes. You watch it leave the sun. You wait 8 minutes. You watch it arrive. Your clock ticked 480 times. But to the photon, it experienced 0 ticks. The moment it was born on the sun is the moment it died on your retina. The emission event and the absorption event are touching. There is no in-between. Space collapsed. Distance became 0. So the paradox vanishes. For you, distance equals 93 million miles. Time equals 8 minutes. Speed equals c. For the photon, distance equals 0. Time equals 0. Speed equals 0. Undefined. The math breaks down because a photon is not an observer. You cannot put a clock on a photon. You cannot attach a reference frame to light. It is illegal in physics. Because if you could, the universe would stop making sense. Everything would happen at once. Cause and effect would merge. The Big Bang would be happening right now. The heat death of the universe would be happening right now. It would be chaos. This is why you can never reach light speed. Not just because it takes infinite energy, but because if you did, you would cease to experience time. You would be frozen in a single, eternal moment. You would break the logic of the universe. So what keeps you trapped in time? Why are you stuck watching the clock tick? What is the anchor holding you back from the speed of light? The answer is hiding inside every atom of your body. Look at your hand again. Clench your fist. Feel that? That's mass. That's inertia. That's the reason you are trapped in time. That is the reason you have a past and a future. Here is the thing. Mass is basically energy that got lazy. It is energy that decided to slow down and condense into a clump. E equals mc squared. Your body is made of atoms. Atoms are made of protons, neutrons, and electrons. And those particles, they have mass. They interact with the Higgs field. They interact with the fabric of spacetime. They drag, they resist, they obey inertia. This resistance is what gives you the feeling of time passing. Because you have mass, you cannot travel at sea. You are forbidden from the speed of limit. The universe forces you to experience time. It forces you to experience duration. It forces you to wait, to age, to remember. Wait. Think about this. If you didn't have mass, if you were made purely of massless particles, if you were a photon, you wouldn't age. You wouldn't have memories. You wouldn't have thoughts. Because thoughts take time. Nerve impulses take time. Chemical reactions take time. To think I am here requires a before and an after. It requires a duration. It requires a tick of the clock. So in a weird way, your mass is a prison, but it is also a gift. Because without it, you wouldn't exist in time, you wouldn't experience life. You would just be an instantaneous flash of energy, a blip in the cosmic static, a ghost passing through the universe without ever truly being part of it. So don't hate your mass. Don't hate the fact that you can't fly at light speed, because that limitation is what gives you a story. It is what gives you a now. It is what separates you from the timeless void of the photon. But there is one more twist, one final mind-bender. If light doesn't experience time, what does that mean for causality? What does that mean for before and after? Because if the photon sees everything at once, does the future already exist? This is where we leave the kiddie pool. We are entering Minkowski space. Don't panic. It's just a fancy name for 4D geometry. Remember that map we talked about in Chapter 1? North is space, east is time. We said there was a speed limit. You can't go faster than c. This creates a shape on the map, a cone, the light cone. Everything that can ever affect you must be inside your past light cone. Everything you can ever affect must be inside your future light cone. Outside those cones, that is the elsewhere. Places you can never reach, events you can never influence, stars you can never see. Because to reach them, you would need to go faster than light. You are not looking at the universe. You are looking at a delayed broadcast. When you look at the Andromeda Galaxy, you are seeing it 2.5 million years ago. You are seeing ghosts. You are seeing a version of the galaxy that no longer exists. And if an alien in Andromeda looks at Earth right now, they see our ancestors. They don't see you. They don't see your car. They see woolly mammoths. But wait, if light connects us and light experiences zero time, does that mean the past and future are connected instantly? Does that mean that 2.5 million years is just an illusion for us? Yes and no. It's not just that light is fast. It's that the speed of light is infinite if you're the light. For the photon traveling from Andromeda to your eye, the journey was instant. The emission in Andromeda and the absorption in your retina was simultaneous. Zero distance, zero time. So in a way, the universe is much smaller than we think. It is a web of instant connections, a network of zero-distance links. We perceive distance because we are stuck in time. We perceive separation because we have mass. But to the light itself, the universe is a singular, interconnected point of energy transfer. So does the future already exist? Einstein thought so. He called it the block universe. Past, present, and future are all equally real. They are all just coordinates on the map. Your death is already written in the geometry of space-time. Your birth is still happening somewhere else in the block. Time is just a dimension like length or width, and we are just slicing through it, 1 second at a time. So we've done the loop. We started with a third-grade lie. Light takes 8 minutes. We blew it up. We learned that time is not a metronome ticking in the sky. We learned that speed is not about motion. It's about exchanging space for time. We learned that length contraction squeezes the universe like an accordion. We learned that mass is the reason you are stuck in the slow lane. And we learned that light cheats. It bypasses time entirely. You are made of atoms that interact with light. You see the universe through a delay. You feel time pass because your mass drags against space-time. You are a prisoner of C. But you are also a beneficiary of C, because without that limit, everything would happen at once. There would be no story, no cause, no effect, no you. The universe needs a speed limit to keep things organized. It needs a barrier to separate the past from the future. It needs a structure to prevent chaos, and that structure is C. Here is the beautiful tragedy. Deep down, you are made of energy. E equals mc squared. Your atoms? They are just bottled lightning. They are condensed fields. In a way, you are made of light that got stuck. You are made of something that wants to be timeless, something that wants to flash across the universe in 0 seconds. But you are heavy, you are complex, you are matter, and that weight is the anchor that holds you here. It holds you in the now. Don't resent the clock. Don't resent the 8 minutes it takes for sunlight to warm your face. That delay is your life. That friction is your existence. If you were light, you would be everywhere at once, but you would experience nothing. Because you are heavy, you get to watch the sunset. You get to feel the warmth. You get to be the universe experiencing itself, one slow, heavy second at a time. Time isn't a prison, it's a playground, and you are the only thing in the universe slow enough to enjoy it. If this broke your brain, good. That means it's growing. I'm working on a video right now about why gravity isn't actually a force, and it's even weirder than this. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next crisis. Thanks for watching.